Check out Finding Mojo with Zana and Nico, the podcast for millennials on the go. This podcast features guests from different walks of life who have wiggled their way into finding success in their chosen fields.
We're trying to find ourselves. We're trying to land our feet on the ground and be part of society. Who are we in society? How can we be useful?
Character development really did start when I cosplayed. You bump into troubles when you're younger, and then you realize, oh, I did wrong.
Get to hear insights on how to navigate the corporate jungle, even life in general.
Put integrity first at all times, no matter what it is that you're doing, because you can never go wrong if you stick to your principles.
I just chose a hobby that I like a lot and I'm passionate about, and then just put your heart into it and then make money out of it.
Finding Mojo with Zana and Nico. Download for free on Spotify. Follow the podcast and stream now.
Hi, welcome to Finding Mojo with Zana and Nico. We have a special guest today, a man with many YouTube channels, a natural on camera, a person that I look up to. Welcome, John Smulo.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here with you guys.
First time, long time. I've been part of one of his YouTube episodes years back, so it's funny we meet again, this time for another interview, which is really awesome. He is the CEO of Purple Cow. Now, it's really interesting how you've brought your business here in the country. So just to start things off, what made you choose the Philippines for the business operations?
Sure. Well, I've had a digital marketing agency in California for the last 15 years, and I would always work with employees during the day, and then at nighttime, everybody would go home, and I would be working with people that were doing mostly freelancing or other agencies in countries like India, Ukraine, Russia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. And I got tired of being up day and night. And so I decided that I was going to pick one country where I really liked working with the people, especially, no offense to all the other countries, but I decided to open up an office here in the Philippines. My plan really wasn't to move here. It was just to hire a manager and HR and project manager to oversee the team. But from the first time I came here, I just really fell in love with being in the Philippines and didn't want to leave. And so that's really how I wound up moving over here to the Philippines and starting the business.
How long have you been here?
I guess it's been almost 4 years.
4 years.
I moved here just in time. I wanted to experience the Sinulog Festival in Cebu City. And so I got to experience the Sinulog Festival and the lockdown.
That's like far ends of the spectrum. Sinulog and lockdown.
Yes. Yeah, from huge crowds to isolated in a room by myself. Yes.
So tell us a bit more about Purple Cow. Who are your clients? What is the niche? Is there any niche industry that you are serving?
Sure, that's a great question. So probably our main niche is other marketing agencies. So we've had that experience for the last 15 years in California. And so we do a lot of really white label or private label work for marketing agencies in especially countries like the US, Australia, England, different places like that. And then we're also working with companies that need outsourced or dedicated employees as well.
What exactly is the service that you provide? Is it like website development or you're doing social media management? What are the things that you offer?
Yeah, all of the above. So anything to do with digital marketing or software development. So sometimes people come to us and they need a small WordPress website. Other times they need a large, complex website built on the MERN stack, something like that. So it really is just whatever clients need, small or large. We don't only work with marketing agencies. We work with other types of businesses as well. But I would say marketing agencies and everything that they need is really the main thing that we focus on.
Have the industry changed over the years?
It really has a lot, just in terms of the type of marketing tactics or programming languages. There's a lot more that you could do now. It's definitely a lot more complex. So even simple things like search engine optimization for websites used to be so simple when I started, and now it's really hard. So the tactics have really, changed a lot, but the types of services have largely stayed the same.
With the AI, sort of like a lot of AI platforms in that niche, mostly a lot of AI applications are in that marketing, SEO, keyword search and all that. How does that affect the business right now?
I think that it's still early days for a lot of that. So we really have to think through what tools that we use and don't use. So for example, there's a lot of AI tools when it comes to copywriting, but I don't really recommend that people use them because Google will also penalize websites if they know that they're using AI. A lot of people will say, well, it doesn't really matter because their tools are able to fool Google. But the thing is that they may be able to fool Google today, but Google's AI checkers in 6 months from now may not be able to be fooled. And so those sites would then get penalized with SEO.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is definitely interesting.
And also, this probably leading to the next question, Nico. Do you remember an incident before with the tourism department?
Oh, yeah.
It could possibly be that's from an AI thing that generates images and all they pick, like, if you want beach, it will,
Right.
I'm just assuming things, but it's one of the drawbacks because there are lots of AI platforms out there, but you need to know what you are doing. Having Purple Cow, a company at Purple Cow who assists you as a drill down on your client profile, drill down on the marketing strategy, but without knowing your strategy, without knowing what you want to do, the AI platforms is basically not useful. Yeah, not useful for people who doesn't know what they're doing.
I would look at it this way, AI definitely helps you do your tasks easier, but it shouldn't be the one to do everything for you.
Yeah, I think it could do a lot of the heavy lifting these days.
There.
But you still need somebody that's really skilled that knows how to do the job to be able to use the platform, as you were saying, Zana.
Yeah.
I agree 110%. Let's talk about the work culture here in the Philippines. 4 years in, and you've experienced a lot of how the Cebuanos work and everything. What can you say about that, and how does it differ from the other people you work with?
Sure. So I find that my biggest adjustment living in the Philippines hasn't been just living in the Philippines in general, but it's been as a business owner, really getting used to work culture here. So I find that it's very different. In a lot of Western countries like the US, work comes first. And so if your kid gets sick, or if your Lola gets sick or something like that, you find someone else to help, but you still go to work. In the Philippines, I really find that family comes first. And that's a beautiful part about the culture here, but can also be a challenge running a business. So I find that some of those types of cultural differences that I love and admire about the Philippines can nonetheless still provide some challenges when it comes to trying to run a business over here.
Definitely true, because a lot of us will say if that really happens, we do come to work, but we are not as productive because, our brain is elsewhere.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And also, like my experience so far, which I think it's great. Companies can actually leverage on that family culture, the work environment. In Western countries where they separate work, friends, and there's outside work friends, and there's families, right? In the Philippines, the separation is quite gray.
Right.
Because you tend to actually consider people who you work as family. When you know someone and you really like someone, you become friends, and it goes like, work is family. There's not big separation between the two.
I agree.
And then it's just how well a company can actually leverage that culture to create a really nice working environment.
The more people are adjusted to work, then the environment and then the culture, it makes them want to come to work, even if you're not scheduled for it. If the company asks you for some extra work, why not? Because you love being at the workplace and being with the people you work with.
Yes.
So, John, challenges or obstacles. I know we all have that now with your work here in the country. What are some factors or, again, the challenges that need to be addressed? Like, is it because I know of a friend of mine who did some business here in the country, and the first thing they said, like, the internet is so slow. Why is it so slow? That was like the first thing. What are things that you address every now and then?
Sure. Definitely internet is one of those, so in California, I would normally just have one business internet connection. Here we have 3 just to make sure there's redundancy. We definitely have to make sure that we're in an office space like you guys are that has generators and is really up to date with latest standards for office buildings and things like that. I think, what I mentioned in the previous question about just myself adapting to Philippines work culture has definitely been a part of it as well. And that's been a challenge that I've enjoyed. I mentioned that I didn't plan on coming to the Philippines to stay, but I really fell in love with the culture here. So the challenges are things that are able to be overcome. I've really learned a lot from Zana as well, just in terms of being able to think through cultural differences. Zana's been here longer, than I have, working through some of these issues. And so sometimes that helps as well, just be able to talk out loud through some of the different challenges with things. But overall, I find that it's really just comes down to some of the logistical items, finding the right talent for the right jobs in quick enough times as well. I find that the Philippines is very competitive, especially I think after the pandemic, with just finding exceptional talent that's able to work for our clients as well. So recruiting is probably, I would say, our number one challenge at this point.
But the talent pool, I have to say, is pretty good. I have to say here, especially in Cebu, a lot of possible employees, they move here in Cebu because the opportunities are here. A lot of jobs are available here, and with your company, with our company, there's plenty of business going on.
I agree. I love our employees, and we found a lot of great people. I just think as you grow, you always have to constantly be finding more people that are great to be able to work with your clients.
Right on.
My experience is, because I've worked in different countries, longest in Australia, so probably my comparison is Australia to here, right? One thing that I don't have to deal with in the workplace here in BSA, and I think it's probably quite similar to every other companies as well, is there's not much arrogance. There's not much attitude. Everybody is willing to be in a community. Everybody is willing to actually lend a helping hand. Everybody is excited to learn, because I think there's not much learning opportunities that's available for everyone. There's a high price to pay for learning here.
I agree.
Only people who can actually afford learning is allowed to go up the career ladder, because you pay for it, right? But those people who can't afford it get left behind. So I see some people who in BSA, where they are so eager to learn, that's what BSA does, is put a lot of learning and development, because I think there are a few critical skills missing here in the Philippines, if I may say, is problem solving, rational thinking, which probably boiled down to the education system, because the education system here is more of a rote learning. You open chapter 4, you read chapter 4, and then you answer the exam question, and that's bingo. You're there.
Yeah.
There's not much investigative or research work that you have to do, where you go question yourself, why is this so? Why is it happening like this? There's a lot of question where you go to the bottom of it and find the root cause of why is this happening? Why is this research saying this summary? Why the conclusion is this? I think that's not practiced in the education system. And I'm sure people in education right now as we speak, I'm sure they are actually looking at the curriculum and putting more that to be at par with more developed countries. In BSA, that's what we do, is try to actually get people to practice, because you have to practice. Learning is about practice, learning problem solving, learning rational thinking. How do you do that?
The learning curve is great here because, like I said, we're given opportunities to learn and possibly relearn some of the things you already have acquired over time. But I think it's the opportunities that are given to everyone here. Even if you're not on that department, whatever skill set it is, we have Alexandria here. We have all the tools that are given to all our associates to be able to shine and discover a lot more skill sets that could be something that they can use moving forward. So I think that's a really good thing. Want to throw the last question before we talk about his YouTube channels?
Yeah, we're dealing with a pro today.
Yeah, I know.
How do you see your industry being purple cow in the next 5 to 10 years? What's your vision, or how do you see Philippines contributes to growth of your company?
Sure. I think there's going to be a lot of changes with AI, which we talked about earlier. So though I mentioned that right now, I think that AI is mostly just assisting professionals with things. I think in the next 5 years and certainly in the next 10, those are going to bring about far bigger changes where AI truly will be doing a lot more of the work. And so I think as a BPO, we're really having to try to make educated guesses as to what the future might hold with some of these types of things. But I think things like marketing, the need for outsourced employees, a lot of the things that we do every day, the need is absolutely going to still be there. It's just going to be evolved. We'll need to iterate on what that looks like working with clients and how we're helping them. And so I think there'll be a lot of change in terms of day-to-day work, what that looks like. But I think it's really going to always be the same in terms of people needing the core type of services that both of our companies offer as well. I think that there'll be some jobs where there's not as many openings because of technology, but I think that there's going to be a lot of new jobs that are created that we haven't even thought of yet that will be there as a result of AI. So I don't necessarily think that there'll be a net job loss. There might even be a job increase over time because of jobs you haven't even thought of because of AI.
Do you feel like anxious that you are actually not doing enough for your employees to actually upskill or be ready for whatever is coming?
To some extent, yes, because I think that as a company, we're doing our best to learn as quickly as we can and to anticipate the future. And so I think that when I say we can make educated guesses now, guess is not a word that I ever feel easy with. That makes me feel a little bit anxious. But I think that anxiousness is okay if it's channeled into really making sure that we are doing our best to stay on top of what developments might be in the future. And it's exciting. You know, sometimes there's a nervous energy that's an exciting thing as well. So I really look forward to the future. I think if I look back, so 15 years ago when I started, things have evolved enormously in that time as well with marketing automation and API integrations. There's so much more that you could do now that you couldn't do then. And we've learned to adapt over time. I think with AI, maybe that will happen in a shorter time frame, but it's really going to just be more of the same, having to adapt. And I think that companies that don't learn to adapt and train quicker, companies that don't have employees that are really excited about learning and adapting are going to have challenges.
Yeah.
What you said a while back about AI and Google possibly policing these things over time, let's say 6 months, it got me anxious but reassured at the same time, because if you think about it, like now in the radio, we were able to find like this song in the voice of Bruno Mars. So something like that. Yes, you can do that with AI. So imagine that. So if you're able to change the voice, why not have AI write a song for you? And there are videos of that. They actually write songs through AI.
Yes,
See, think
it's
about
easy
that.
to
It's
do that.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's easy to do that.
Oh.
See, that's why, like I said, it reassured me. Hopefully, you know, that Google will be able to police these things over time because,
Yeah, because there's some trademark infringements.
right. So if they can do that with music, how much more with intellectual property, like actual stuff you do, especially for your business, right?
There's a lot of that already there today. So if you search for deep fakes, you could really find how incredible.
Fake?
Yes, it's really where they're able to, through AI, look at someone's body, really take somebody's body, take their voice, and really show them doing something that they didn't do. Zana acting like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, scaling down this building.
There you go.
Oh, yes, that would be good. That was my childhood ambition, to be a jet fighter pilot. It's good to see Tom Cruise in Maverick. I enjoyed that.
John, let's now talk about your YouTube channels, because that's how we got to know each other. I was actually one of the guys he interviewed back when I was still with another radio station, and we got to talk about radio and everything. Now you have 2 YouTube channels. Tell us more about your channels.
Sure. Well, first, thank you again for being on that video. It was
no problem.
really fun to be on the radio station with you and pretend DJ for the day. That was a great experience. So my first channel was called American Entrepreneur in the Philippines. And that's really about life and business as an expat here in the Philippines. And then I really always wanted to explore some other topics that I felt like maybe would be not appropriate on a channel kind of focused more on business. And so I started California Expat just a few months ago. And so that's the second YouTube channel where I could talk about things just a little bit more life in general as an expat here in the Philippines.
So the new one, that new channel is of course, it's still in its infancy. But the other channel, how long have you run the channel?
It's been about 3 years for the first channel and just almost 3 months for the new channel. The new channel gets about 5x more views. So I think that doing business in the Philippines, there still isn't a lot of us out there as expats that are doing that. So I think the interest in that is a bit lower than people just loving the Philippines and wanting to move here as an expat.
So what you're saying, the other channel is more lighthearted, maybe? Something like that?
No, I think they're both fairly equally lighthearted, not too serious, either one of them. But I think that far more people are interested in life in the Philippines in general than necessarily foreigners considering starting a business here.
So it's a bigger audience. And how do you choose a topic? What are the things that you consider?
So for the business channel, it's really just thinking through honest, real life topics of what somebody would deal with here in the Philippines. Business culture is truly culture. So when you go from country to country, people expect that maybe people eat different food or they dress different or they have a different language. And I don't think that we often think as much that business culture is also different. How people apply for a job, what they expect of themselves, what the employer expects of people here. So I really tried to think through those type of topics through the lens of a foreigner, but I love having employees on the channel as well to share their perspective too. And then with California Expat channel, it's really more thinking through people that would want to move to the Philippines, thinking through maybe different cultural things that they aren't aware of, or thinking through financial planning here, different types of topics like that.
I wonder how many Americans in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
I would like to get a statistic of like what's the numbers of foreigners from different countries here. I think I've met a few Europeans, but a lot more Americans. And of course, in my small world, there were a few Australians.
True.
Yeah.
And you can see them all around, especially here that we are very near a mall. You see them here. A lot of them stay at different spots where, you know, they just have a beer or what have you. And I've seen some of your videos too, where you also go at night and meet up with a lot of the expats. That's really cool.
Sometimes, yeah. There's an organization called Internations over here that connects foreigners and locals here. And so, yeah, maybe you saw a video on that one here. But I believe South Koreans are the number one.
I was going to say that. South Koreans, there's a lot of them here.
And Japanese. And then I think it's like post-war, it's the Koreans are here to set up business.
If you go to Mactan, there's like a South Korea. It's a
like
Korea town.
Mini South Korea.
It's a Korea town there.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's now translating to skincare. Now, I want to do a pop quiz for the two of you. I want to check who's more Pinoy. Who's more Pinoy than two of you? Is it Sana? Is it John?
Interesting. I'm very competitive. So
I got 5 questions. Very easy. If you've been here long enough, 4 years, how many years?
So if I win, you buy me coffee.
Yeah, how many years? Yeah. 4 years in, how about you? How many years?
5.
5 years, okay. First question, name the oldest street in the Philippines.
I know it's in Cologne.
That's it, Cologne Street. Congratulations, 1 point. That's it.
If I win, you also buy me a copy.
Yeah.
No, there was an agreement in the
That's the
beginning.
oldest street in the Philippines, Cologne Street.
Cologne Street.
Yeah.
Ah.
Number 2. This goes well with barbecue. It's very popular in Cebu. In English, we call it hanging rice.
Puso.
Yes, that's it.
Nice.
One each. Question number 3. When the calendar says September 1, he appears on every TV show. His songs are played on the mall. He is everywhere this Christmas season. Who is he?
Local?
Yes,
Filipino?
He's a singer, and his initials are JMC.
No idea.
I was going to say Nico.
No.
No. because I thought I always hear Mariah Carey. But is he singing in English?
Yes. So the answer is Jose Marichan. He is from the Philippines. You hear his songs. And September 1, he now started to appear in like TV shows and guest states and everything.
Right.
So he's like the king here when it comes to like Christmas songs.
Wow.
Question number 4. The festival that is celebrated every January.
Sinulog.
Who did it? Who said Sinulog first?
Me.
Zana?
I'll give it to Zana.
Okay.
I'll give it to Zana.
2, 1.
Such a gentleman. Okay.
Okay. You have to be very Pinoy to answer this question. Question number 5. So you lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Complete the phrase, bahala na si blank.
Oh my God. Bakala na si. Bakala is...
This is,
Bakala
what
bakala
it
na
is,
si. I
just for
don't
context,
know.
it says when you're pushed against a wall, you're like, here goes nothing. So that's the context of it.
Bahala na si.
Blank.
Kapoy.
No.
Laban lang.
No.
No.
Bahala na si, and then the answer is actually a superhero. Bahala na si blank. Going once.
Spider-Man.
Going twice. Nothing. Batman. That's
I was close.
that's what we usually.
Do I get
that's
half a
what we
point?
usually say here.
Bahala na si
Bahala na si
Batman.
Batman. That's a
What does
common
bahala
line.
na si means?
When you're a little lost, don't know what to do. Here goes nothing. Bahala na si Batman.
Oh.
Because Batman always saves the day, something like that, right?
Okay,
Right,
So
right.
that's how
Batman.
we say it. So Zana wins.
Yes. I
The
got
coffee goes to you.
The coffee goes to Zana. And there you go. John, thank you so much.
My
thank you for
pleasure.
the time. Thank you, of course.
Thank you for having me.
And
Thank you
congratulations.
for coming. Like, I know you're busy, but thank you for coming.
And
My
congratulations
pleasure.
on Purple Cow. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Finding Mojo with Zana and Nico. We're brought to you by our friends from BSA Solutions Incorporated. We are a certified great place to work, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Check out Finding Mojo with Zana and Nico, the podcast for millennials on the go. This podcast features guests from different walks of life who have wiggled their way into finding success in their chosen fields.
We're trying to find ourselves. We're trying to land our feet on the ground and be part of society. Who are we in society? How can we be useful?
Character development really did start when I cosplayed. You bump into troubles when you're younger, and then you realize, oh, I did wrong.
Get to hear insights on how to navigate the corporate jungle, even life in general.
Put integrity first at all times, no matter what it is that you're doing, because you can never go wrong if you stick to your principles.
I just chose a hobby that I like a lot and I'm passionate about, and then just put your heart into it and then make money out of it.
Finding Mojo with Zana and Nico. Download for free on Spotify. Follow the podcast and stream now